Brooklyn Independent Television.
If you're looking in the back of us, right there is Fort Hamilton. They are preparing for hopefully a long playoff run. But joining me is Elio Velez of the Daily News, and Elio and I are talking about the playoffs and the regular season that is now over. Elio, E. Hall in the championship division. Wayne Morgan, Mr. Football, New York City, would you agree? Some people say he's the best. He's also playing in the bowl game, right?
He's playing the Army All-American Bowl game. Wayne Morgan is one of the best.
Along with
P. Diddy's son, right. Justin Combs from Iona Prep. Wayne Morgan is one of the best talents in this city. And he plays with the Erasmus Hall team that's one of two teams in Brooklyn that's the same thing. You don't know which team is showing up on most weeks. They could beat the whole city, and then the next week they could just fall apart. That's that kind of season.
Is it a lack of focus, you think, on their part?
It's inconsistency. I think they have so many talented pieces. They're another athletic team. I mean, it's not just Wayne Morgan, it's Shaquille Jackson, it's Curtis Samuel, was a nice running back until he got hurt. But they have a lot of talent, but it's inconsistency which plagues them from being one of those top contenders. But they still finished fifth. And with Wayne Morgan, who could do it all, quarterback, who can run the ball, and defensively, he's fantastic. That's why he's going to go to a top Division I school. You can't count out Erasmus Hall, and they lost in the first round last year, so they want to go far this,
All right, Brooklyn Tech.
Brooklyn Tech got in. They barely got in, but it was a good job by Kyle McKenna. They're still a very young team with James Gales, the top running back you'll hear about in the next year or so. But this year they were still a little young. And so they had some growing pains, but they get into the playoffs, and that's a good thing for Brooklyn Tech.
Has there been any other surprises overall?
I think the surprises. Well, my surprise is the injury factor that's come into the last few weeks. That's played a big factor because we were talking about Lincoln and Tyville and all even. Now with those injuries, now Lincoln has become almost like the favorites in a way. So that's kind of changed the perception of what's going on. I thought Canarsie did fantastic. Maybe that was my surprise. I didn't think they were going to be 7-2.
Now, by the way, the championship game is going to be played at Yankee Stadium December the 6th at 5 p.m. So that's a Tuesday, and the bowl will be played at
Bowl Cup probably will be at Midwood. They play the last few years, and in the bowl division we talk about Madison.
Let's talk Madison in Brooklyn.
Madison, who fell down, who dropped from the championship division. Right. And they finished in first place in the bowl. It was a great job by Coach Mobility over there.
Now they're getting a bye, right?
They're going to get a bye. 6 teams in the bowl playoffs. They get the bye. They're number 1. Number 2 is August Martin. They get a bye too. We'll talk about the first round. Grady.
Now that's a team that went through several changes.
Absolutely, several changes. Roster, school closing, low numbers. Andrew Jackson's done a great job bringing them down from the championship to the bowl.
Also, the principal played a major part.
Yes, in keeping that program alive and keeping that thing going and going through some tough years. They were I remember they were winless one of those years, and they've done a good job coming down to the bowl. They're in the playoffs. They have a home game in the first round. That's a good job.
Now they're going to play Beach Channel.
Beach Channel,
one of the top teams, which I felt should be in the championship division.
Well, a lot of people thought Beach Channel, but they created their own problems just with a lot of controversy. They had to forfeit a game to Madison, which they had won earlier this year because of an illegal player. They've had a lot of other issues, but they have a lot of talent. They were in the bowl championship game last year, which they lost to Truman. So they still have a lot of talent rolling, going together. Tilden is a good story.
And Bayside, also a team that we haven't heard from in years, but in terms of football, was one of the dominant teams during the 80s.
Sure,
during the 70s.
Yeah,
maybe sometime maybe during the 90s.
Absolutely.
Now they've dropped off. They're on a comeback trail.
They were first place most of the year, and in the last few years they lost 2 in a row. So now they're down to the 5th spot. And Tilden's going to have a home game, and they got a good quarterback, Sean Braithwaite, who is only a junior. He's got a strong arm, and some Division I schools are looking at him. So Tilden's could make a decent run here. They could get to the semifinals. It'd be a nice thing for Tilden.
In terms of the Cup.
In the Cup, people thought it was just MSIT, McKee Staten Island Tech, and Patrice that would roll the whole year. The number 1, 2, they faced each other in the playoffs last year, the championship, and no, that's not the case. MSIT is still number 1, but Alfred E. Smith from the Bronx has done well, and South Shore has come down from the bowl.
South Shore also has a new coach,
Matt Sakara. Right? Great job. They were 7-1. They have a week to go. They're going to get a home game in the playoffs, and that's a school that also had to shut down, restructure, lost numbers, lost the JV for a while, And look what happened.
Because their coach just dropped off. I believe he's the assistant at Poly.
Believe so too, but yeah, they went through a whole set of issues, and now they're back. They got a good roster, healthy roster, and they're gonna get a home game in the
Okay,
cup.
when we come back, we will continue to talk football, especially about the Catholic side of the game, right after this.
Download this program's podcast on iTunes. Keywords Brooklyn Independent Television.